decoder with the following installation parameters: Intelsat 20 satellite with tuning frequency 12562 MHz, symbol rate 30 Mbps, orbital position 68.5 degree east, and horizontal polarization. You can also keep in touch with episodes of our programs via these social media platforms. For inquiries, please call 070-3265-6544 or mail us via inquiries@acnntv.com. ACNN, reaching the world with the undiluted Word of God.
Many thanks for joining us for the news on the hour on ACNN TV. The major stories. At the just concluded Anglican prayer rally of the Anambra State, APRAS 2021, the Archbishop Ecclesiastical Prince of the Niger, Most Reverend Alexander Ibezim, calls on Anglican faithful in Anambra State to be strong and stand against intimidation and all the vices going on in the state. The Bishop of the Anglican Diocese of the West and coordinating Bishop of Kona, the Right Reverend Dr. Felix Orji, joined with parishioners and the family of Suffragan Bishop Celestine Irona, appreciate God with the Suffragan Bishop as he celebrates his one-year consecration anniversary. Church of the Transfiguration Gadwa graduates its 2020-2021 class of equipping the Saints discipleship students. Plus, the 36th House of Assembly Speakers calls on President Muhammadu Buhari to declare bandits as terrorists and enemies of the nation, as a Kaduna-based Islamic cleric, Gumi, warns President Muhammadu Buhari-led federal government that declaring bandits terrorists will end Nigeria. Here are the stories detailed. The Anglican faithful in the Anambra State have been charged to be strong and stand against intimidation and all the vices going on in the state. Now, this was the admonition of the Archbishop Ecclesiastical Province of the Niger, Most Reverend Alexander Ibezim, which he made as they gathered to pray at the Anglican prayer rally of Anambra State, APRAS 2021. Charles Philip Uwakolam, who was there for ACNN TV, reports that Anglican bishops in the state and their delegates gathered en masse to pray for the state, the nation, and for the church. Here's the report.
Prayer can bring a sense of spiritual alignment with God. It elicits feelings of gratitude, compassion, forgiveness, and hope. This is the situation as the Anglican faithful in Anambra State gathered at the Alex Ekweme Square in Awka, the state capital. Here there were praises,
God has given us an open heaven. There is nobody that will come here that will go home empty-handed in the mighty name of Jesus Christ.
and prayers of thanksgiving and supplications on behalf of the nation, the state, and the church.
I commend you this morning for your courage.
The people were commended by the provincial Archbishop, Most Reverend Alex Ibezim, for their courage coming out despite the unrest in the state. He also charged the people to be strong, not to let the happenings in the state intimidate them, urging them also to make it a duty to vote come November 6 governorship election.
So many things are threatening our existence. We as church leaders, we will not be intimidated, and we will not shy away from continue to speak the mind of God. Several attempts have been made, especially in the north, to put an end to Christianity. Churches have been burned down, lives have been wasted, our people are living in fear, yet we are not seeing these evils coming to an end. To these threats, we are being encouraged today to be strong in the Lord. We are confident that majority, if not all of us, are holders of our PVCs and ready to vote. Remember that this is your civic right and responsibility. And because of the importance to us as a church, we must ensure to go out and vote, endeavor to be conscious of the happenings within and around you. Make sure that you are not intimidated.
The preacher for the day is the Bishop of Niger West Diocese, Right Reverend Johnson Ekwe. He frowned at the handling of the agitations in Nigeria, especially in the east.
I want to also advise the government, because there's so much trouble in the land, agitation everywhere, troubles everywhere. He's not pursuing Nandekalo or detaining him for a longer time. Let them release him. And then other IPOD members, and then let the leadership and the elders of the land call a meeting, a conference, so that we'll be able to discuss at the round table and solve this issue. It's not about sending DSS or sending soldiers or sending people to go and besiege the eastern region and then cutting away with our youth. They're getting them en masse in everything and putting them in dungeon. So we're not happy about that. You can't beat a child and ask the child not to cry.
This year's Anglican prayer rally of the Anambra State has its attention fixed mainly on the coming elections and the agitations of the eastern Nigeria and others. They have prayed and demands from the government prompt action to resolve the peace-threatening issues. Charles Philip Wakolam, Acnn News.
Thanks, Charles Philip Wakolam, for that report. Moving on now, the Bishop of the Anglican Diocese of the West and Coordinating Bishop of Konam, the Right Reverend Dr. Felix Orji, joined with parishioners and the family of Suffragan Bishop, appreciates God with the Suffragan Bishop as he celebrates his one-year consecration anniversary. The consecration Thanksgiving service was at Christ Anglican Church, Marietta, GA. Bishop Celestine Irunna was consecrated last year as a Suffragan Bishop under the Anglican Diocese of the West, USA. Here is a photo report. The Bishop of the Diocese of Omaru, Anglican Communion, the Right Reverend Festus Sobanke, has urged President Muhammadu Buhari, members of the National Assembly, governors, ministers and other political office holders to address the challenges of Nigeria. Speaking at the Fourth Synod of the Diocese of Omaru, Kwara State, he stated that Nigerians are suffering and wallowing in poverty, adding that political leaders should provide good governance and ensure the delivery of dividends of democracy to Nigerians.
Our theme for this synod is aimed at appealing to our leaders in Nigeria that they should remember God. Our dear Mr. President, our Honorable Vice President, lawmakers, government functionaries, ministers and commissioners, head of government establishments and parastatals, cabinet leaders and all political stakeholders, let me make it loud and clear. Nigerians are suffering and Nigerians are wallowing in poverty. This nation is sinking. I know I am not saying anything new, but I am doing it for the sake of emphasis and to trouble your conscience. All of you that are representing us in government affairs and offices, you have not been fair to this nation. What more can we say? Nigeria has moved from worst to worst. You have made people to call God a liar. You have refused to allow our prayers to be answered by your selfishness and your insincerity. Crime has increased very rapidly in this nation. Kidnapping has become the order of the day. Tribalism and nepotism is ruling our decisions. Our roads are so bad, and they are already becoming dead traps. Electricity in this nation is an apology. Honestly, Nigerians are in pain. In Nigeria today, being a Christian is a thing to dread. You are almost not safe for being a Christian in this nation. Go to the north, see hundreds of attacks on churches. In the east, it is gradually coming up, and our experiences in the southwest here are not palatable. Who has bewitched this nation? Where have we disease? Who exactly is the troubler of our Israel?
He went further to commend the few ones who have the fear of God in office, while also urging Nigerians who are yet to get their voters card to do so.
Let me commend the few ones who have the fear of God in office. May your days be long, and God bless your efforts. Please speak out among them. Behold, even when they kill you, death is not the end. My dear people of God, we are praying and God is hearing. But the hour has come, the time has come for us to stand up and take the bull by the horn. If you don't have a voter's card, please go and get yours. Our votes will count this time. You didn't say amen. That's a simple prayer. Our votes will count this time. But we must all be ready to vote. Let us vote out all those who are propagating evil and giving unrest to this nation. We know them. Let us not deceive ourselves. They are ungodly leaders. They allow killing and bloodshed. These are not signs of democracy. Neither are they signs of godliness. These are signs of darkness. Please join in this campaign. Don't let us miss it again as a country. The 1,000 naira given to us during the election did not solve anything. We have a long list of youth seeking employment, and the jobs are not coming. Please let us do our best to save this nation. Vote for the right person.
The Anglican Bishop of the Diocese of Okrika, the Right Reverend Enoch Atuboyedie, has called on the clergy and their wives, diocesan officials, Council of Knights and their ladies, evangelists, lay ministers, traditional rulers and chiefs, Anglican faithful and the general public to get ready to attend the 2021 Diocesan Sunday School Conference, which will hold at the Youth Church Anglican Church of the Pentecost Okrika Grammar School, Okrika, from Thursday 28th to Sunday 31st October with the theme Follow Me and Bible focus from Matthew 9:9. According to the bishop, there will be Jesus March around Okrika on Thursday 28th to sensitize residents of the great event. Bishop Atuboyedie urged all to prepare their minds to receive from the throne of grace. As God's servant, the Bishop of Amici Diocese, the Right Reverend Ephraim Ikako, will be ministering live to them. Church of the Transfiguration, Gadoa, has graduated its 2020-2021 class of Equipping the Saints discipleship students. The ceremony held at the conference hall of the Episcopal House, Wuye, Abuja, also featured a book presentation titled In the Time of Pestilence, a Pastoral Approach, authored by Reverend Canon Emmanuel Imahai and co-authored by Lady Mary Tianye. A CNN News correspondent, Carolina Tumbe, has the details of that report.
Equipping the Saints ETS, which is geared towards establishing the School of Discipleship, awarding postgraduate diplomas and other distinctions in consecrating, charging, and sending forth ministers on evangelism and discipleship, is to fulfill the Great Commission, hence the need for the ceremony. Being the second of its kind in Abuja, the 36 graduates made their solemn declaration as award of excellency in performance were given to them. In their separate remarks, Primate Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion, His Grace the Most Reverend Henry Ndukuba, represented by Venerable Yemi Fatosi, and the President of ETS, Pastor Robinson Oluyemi, among others, charged the graduates to sustain the teachings fulfilling the promises of God.
Whatever it is that God has assigned for you to do for Him, that is the cross. Live daily in obedience to that call. And I pray that as we do this, and we choose daily to follow Him, we will see His power, we will experience great exploits, and we will bring glory to His name.
Equipping the saint ministry is playing in the body of Christ. It is to equip the saints everywhere. We are supposed to equip the people, all the people that have been brought forth. Once you give your life to Christ, you are a potential candidate.
In his word of encouragement, the General Secretary, Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion, Venerable Paul Dajo, urged the graduates not to be afraid, but be committed to doing the work of God.
You have been trained. You are qualified to raise disciples and to teach them what you were taught. Because what was committed to you were the true words of Christ. They were the words of encouragement. They were the words of life. So hold on to it, pass it on, and let those you will train also bring others. So I'm expecting that by the grace of God, the next class of discipleship under our vicar would be larger than your class.
High point of the ceremony was the book presentation titled In the Time of Pestilence, a Pastoral Approach. The author speaks and others share their view on the day.
The book launch is just a product of discipleship. Why am I saying a product of discipleship? During the time of lockdown, people were just at home. The world was just surprised that yes, people could just be at home and nobody's going anywhere. Even the world power were affected. But then the primates came out, sensitized the priests in the Diocese of Abuja, and told us to launch out to ensure that we keep the members, the sheep, fed on a daily basis. And that's what brought about the daily messages I was sending every morning during the lockdown that brought about the book we are having today.
Used him tremendously well as an instrument, as a vessel, in this end time, to propagate and to, disciple, believers who will have a mind of their own, who can be able to face the world out there.
Matter of fact, the Great Commission that God has told us all to be part of, that's what we actually are graduating from today. Because
in everything we give thanks to God, but of course with it comes more responsibility.
I am Carolina Chumbe, reporting for CNN News.
Thanks, Caroline, for that report. Moving on, the Chairman Central Planning Committee for the Women's Conference of the Diocese of Niger Delta, Evangelist Mrs. Stella Brown, has revealed the inspiration behind the choice of theme for the just concluded Diocesan Women's Conference, which had its theme as Great is Thy Faithfulness. She made the revelation while speaking in an interview with the media team of the diocese.
This is her last conference, incidentally. And when we were looking for a theme for this conference. She said, Stella, give me time. And then she called us to tell us the theme. I laughed. Great is thy faithfulness. I say, of a truth, it is good, our mama looking back to what God has done for her. Especially she was when she was the dean's wife here. Going from here, that's at least the one I want to recount. Going from here always to Port Harcourt to have meetings and back. I think 2 times she was involved in unpleasant situations on sea here in Bonny. I want to say the one that I know. One was a boat mishap. I think herself and one of her pastor's wives, they were involved. Everything they had was missing. That is to mention but few. I know there are others. So if she went through that here and she counted throughout her life as a minister's wife, going from one station to the other and then to the position where she is, I think she really needs to be grateful to God. So that is what she is counting. And then whenever we say, we're celebrating Mama, that's what the committee said this year, that we're going to celebrate her since it's going to be her last year with the women. She turned it around and said, no, not her. It's not about her, but about the Niger Delta Diocese under their watch. You know, she wants to give it back to God for keeping her, for protecting her, you know, for being by her all through their journey.
You've been watching News on the Hour on Acnn TV, and still to come, Solskjaer vows to stay as Man United boss despite Liverpool win. That story will come your way after the break. Please stay tuned. You're welcome back, and thanks for being there. For more on our top stories, please visit our website at acnntv.com or our social media platforms on facebook.com or youtube.com/acnntv. To be up to date with our news and other programs, download the Avo TV app from Google Play Store, and you can also advertise your goods and services on Acnn TV. Moving on now, President Muhammadu Buhari launched the country's digital currency at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The event had in attendance the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Godwin Emefiele, Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, among others. It would be recalled that the digital currency was billed to be unveiled on October 1st, but was shifted due to activities on Independence Day. The country's Apex Bank had said the e-Naira is a culmination of several years of research work in advancing the boundaries of payment system in order to make financial transactions easier. CBN noted that the launch of the digital currency is a major step forward in the evolution of money. The bank vowed to ensure that the e-Naira, like the physical Naira, is accessible by everyone. The Nigerian Labour Congress has cautioned the federal government against the use of force in the enforcement of workers' vaccination. Now, the president of the NLC, Ayuba Waba, gave this charge during a briefing on COVID-19 vaccination advisory for federal civil servants in Abuja. It had been reported that the boss, Mustafa-led Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19 on October 13, 2021, announced that federal government workers without proof of COVID-19 vaccination or result of test done within 72 hours will be denied access to their offices starting from December 1, 2021. However, the NLC president urged the federal government to employ the use of persuasion and conviction rather than force. The 36th House of Assembly Speakers has called on President Muhammadu Buhari to declare bandits as terrorists and enemies of the nation. This was their resolution at a conference of speakers of state houses of assembly in Katsina State. The call by the Conference of Speakers is coming a day after Katsina Governor Aminu Bello Masari reiterated the earlier call of his Kaduna counterpart Nasir El-Rufai and the National Assembly for the federal government to declare a state of emergency on the nation's security and declare bandits as terrorists. Chairman of the conference, who is also Bauchi State Speaker Abubakar Suleiman, while making the call at the end of their third yearly meeting, said it was part of their 5-point communique at the end of their 8 hours deliberations. Speaking at the opening of the meeting, the host Governor Masari said that the security agencies were doing their best at tackling the state of insecurity nationwide, but the federal government ought to adopt more measures towards resolving the problem. Katsina is one of the epicenters in the nation's northwest, where banditry and other criminal activities reign supreme, leaving many citizens traumatized. Meanwhile, a Kaduna-based Islamic cleric, Sheikh Ahmed Gumi, has warned the president-led federal government against declaring bandit terrorists. Gumi warned that Nigeria would stop existing as a sovereign land and united entity if the federal government declared bandits as terrorists. The Islamic cleric disclosed this in a Facebook post. He, however, admitted that the devastation caused by bandits in the northwest amounted to terrorism. Gumi stressed that despite the devastation, proscribing bandits would lead to severe consequences that will consume the entire country. Away from Nigeria now, Sudan's top general declared a state of emergency, dissolved the authorities leading country's democratic transition, and announced the formation of a new government after soldiers detained civilian leaders in what activists denounced as a coup. General Abdel Fattah's announcement in a televised address came after armed forces detained figures of the government in charge of leading the transition to democracy since the April 2019 ouster of autocratic President Omar al-Bashir. His statement came as clashes erupted in the capital, Khartoum, with soldiers firing live rounds at people who took to the streets to protest the power grab. The violence was largely centered outside the army headquarters in the capital hours after soldiers detained Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok, ministers in his government and civilian members of Sudan's ruling council. And on sports news now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer insisted he is the right man to manage Manchester United despite a historic hammering by Liverpool on Sunday as Mohamed Salah scored a hat-trick in a 5-0 rout at Old Trafford. For the first time in Premier League history, United trailed 4-0 at half-time and lost by 5 goals without scoring at home for the first time since 1955. The Red Devils have now taken 1 point from a possible 12th in the league to fall to 7th, 8 points off leaders Chelsea. So that's it. Oh, sorry about that. Here's a recap of our major stories. At the just concluded Anglican prayer rally of the Anambra State APRAS 2021, the Archbishop Ecclesiastical Province of the Niger, Most Reverend Alexander Ibezim, calls on Anglican faithful in Anambra State to be strong and stand against intimidation and all the vices going on in the state. The Bishop of the Anglican Diocese of the West and coordinating Bishop of Cornham, the Right Reverend Dr. Felix Orji, joined with parishioners and the family of Suffragan Bishop Celestine Unona, appreciate God with the Suffragan Bishop as he celebrates his one-year consecration anniversary. Church of the Transfiguration Gadua graduates its 2020-2021 class of equipping the Saint Discipleship students. Plus, the 36th House of Assembly Speakers calls on President Muhammadu Buhari to declare bandits as terrorists and enemies of the nation, as a Kaduna-based Islamic cleric, Gumi, warned the President Muhammadu Buhari-led federal government that declaring bandits terrorists will end Nigeria. And that's it for this edition of the News on the Hour. I want to thank you profusely for watching. I am Mizuguchi Frank. Bye.